You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 4th meeting of the Michigan City Port Authority Commission. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Michigan City Port Authority Board of Directors meeting. I call the meeting to order, and I'm looking for approval or correction of the October 21st, 2024 meeting minutes.
Move to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second. Go ahead.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Freeze, do you have anything for us today?
Not yet.
All right. Thanks for coming out. All right, reports from the harbor master, Mr. Free.
All right, well, we've been steadily hauling the boats out of the marina. I don't know if there was enough light yet when you came in to see. There's about 10 or so still out in the basin. Some of them are coming to us and some of them are going to B&E. We expect to finish up haul out by Friday. So we have a handful sitting down at Trail Creek that we're waiting to pull out based on weather and water level and things like that, but hopefully we'll be finished by Friday. In the meantime, we continue setting up Christmas lights and repairing the ones that need some repair. And we continue working on winterizing the marina, and that involves taking off the ladders, bringing fire extinguishers in, taking off any extensions, clipping the lids on the dock boxes so the wind doesn't blow them open, and stuff like that. And then I attended a virtual pre-construction meeting last week with the Corps of Engineers. Their plan is to finish the stonework on the detached breakwater next spring, as well as some work on the end of the pier on the north side of the lighthouse.
Oh, good.
The target date sounds like it was in early spring, but they didn't know that for sure yet. This was just their pre-construction meeting with the contractor and going over all the paperwork side of it. So I'm sure I'll have a better date when we get closer, but they hope to do the stonework first. So, and that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Could you just give us an update on how the Coast Guard situation went this year with them only being here a little bit? I mean, any questions or concerns from anybody? Did it go on pretty smoothly, do you think?
Well, I think from our perspective it was, yeah.
Okay.
You know, I'm not aware that there were any major problems.
No. Does anybody in the marina talk about it?
Not that I've heard, yeah.
Okay. And the bird situation with the trees, that was a lot better this year?
Yeah, about the same.
About the same.
We just spent more effort on it.
Okay. I know you and I talked about that a little bit. That's been a couple of months ago. I'm just curious. Thank you.
All right. Moving on, reports from the Assistant Harbor Master Administration, Mrs. Palicki.
At this time, we're just busy with people bringing in their payments, calling in the payments, putting down their deposits for next year. It's going well at this time.
Anything else?
That's it.
About it? All right. Anything else from Ms. Palicki? Good. Moving on, Mr. Ferguson, budget and financial oversight review and approval of the bills to be paid.
Just the two items today to talk about briefly is the bills to be paid and an approval of the budget with any questions. That's the budget I handed out 2 weeks ago. I handed out an updated version of that that just has a couple changes for the actual expenditures this year, but we'll get on that in a second. The bills to be paid, you can see what the total is down the front page of $63,926.70. This summary page lists all but $1,600 of it. You can see it's coming down from the top. Watercraft user fee, that's we collect. And then it's no expense to us. We collect it and then we pay it back out immediately, towards the end of the year to the to the city controller, and I believe it goes into the channel maintenance fund. Okay, so that's what that is. There's some coming down that list. It's, you can see it's the lawn maintenance, it's security, NIPSCO. We evidently purchased about $4,000 worth of tires. I imagine that's from Trail Creek. There's some of the tractors down there. Got some more lawn maintenance. Weir fleet repairs. I'm guessing that that's part of the some tractors or the tractors on Trail Creek again. And that's it. There's just a few other minor items on the other side. But I'll make a motion that we accept the bills as shown, totaling $63,926.70. I'm looking for a second.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions? Good. All right, all in favor of paying the bills?
Thank you, everybody. The other thing I have is what is next year's budget. We have a new page, a new section that we just handed out. And as I said, the actual for this year has just changed just a little bit. Has no changes to the budget for next year, the proposed budget for next year. So I checked with Mary Ann, and she had no calls concerning any major questions anybody had. I most certainly did not get any. I will very quickly state again, the changes that we have installed for next year is we increased the slip rental by 3%. That's already been approved. We built in a 3% pay raise for all employees. And there was a couple changes, really more than anything else. It was just reducing one and increasing others to kind of balance out. But those were the two major changes we had to the budget. So unless there are any questions, I'll make a motion to approve next year's budget. I'd like to get some of those questions first if possible. Hearing none, I'll make a motion that we approve the budget as stated for next year.
I'll second it.
Any questions first? Anybody?
No,
All right.
it's really not much different than what you put out before.
No, there is none on the budget side.
All in favor of approving the budget, say aye.
That's all I have.
That's all you have. Well, thank you, sir, for all your fine work.
And the
Mr.
staff.
Mr. Haynes is out this evening, so for operations, green policy, everything seems to be going pretty good. We got an extra forklift driver that's working out pretty decent. That's only seasonal, but he knows what he's doing, younger guy. It's nice to see somebody a little bit younger to come in. Then the only other thing I have is, we were talking to Mary Ann, if anyone would be opposed to changing our meeting in December to 12/16, that way she can wrap up with the bills better for the month. Because the 9th would have put her a little bit in a position where she have to carry into January. So just want to make sure I bring that up and see if anyone has any opposition.
With calendar here.
Was that the only meeting for December?
Yeah.
I couldn't, which is what we talked about that a couple years ago. I think that's a good idea. So our only meeting would be the 16th.
16.
That date's okay by me. 12th.
If we need a motion on that, I'll make the motion, we accept that.
We have a meeting on on the 2nd of December, right?
Yeah, we're just moving it to one meeting.
Oh, we're moving it to one meeting.
Yeah.
In December.
Okay, have we voted on that?
I have a motion to do that. To move the 9th to the 16th and then eliminate.
Yeah, we're moving it to the 9th, and then she wants to move it just to the 16th, just to have it on 16th.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Anybody second those motions?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
Let John know, John and Kim.
And with that, I don't have anything else. Mr. Messina, Board of Communications Special Events.
Real quick before we move on today, I just was wondering, since John's not present today, are we gonna talk about the insurance renewal at a later date?
They'll come in.
They will.
Insurance, yeah, they're coming in, they'll come in on the 6th, no, the next meeting. Yeah, they'll be in the next meeting, that way we'll find.
2 weeks from now,
Yep.
okay.
On the
Yes.
18th.
Yep,
Okay.
They have all the information.
yeah.
You already met with them? and-
Met with them, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Great.
You have?
Yes. Yep. All right, so Mr. Messina, Board of Communications Special Events.
Got one thing that I had written down, and it's like from my old records, and something I get from a lot of our customers, problems with the ice machines that we have. But they're pretty antiquated, they're old fashioned, and I don't know if we've done a competitive pricing with any other vendors. I know there's other vendors out there, or if it's worth looking into again.
Well, we own the machines,
But
so,
We talk,
all we do is pay the vendor to come in and film. Is that what
probably,
we do?
yes, yeah.
Okay, do we ever do any competitive pricing on that?
We do from time to time, yeah.
Okay. That's the only note I had, but not a lot. We had some complaints again this year. I don't think it's heavy as in past years. So the machines are inoperable, or they run out during the weekend, and of course, nobody around to fill them.
Yeah, for rare occasion, sometimes you gotta walk over to another dock to get ice. I've done it.
I know we've got quite a different places, I mean, even over here at the grocery store, and I mentioned that to people.
And sometimes machines just act up. They're just, I mean, they are what they are as far as that goes. I mean,
That's all I have.
get jammed at
Sure.
times. The thing is people will rather go back to their slip and not say anything to anybody and complain to the crowd. So it festers instead of just picking up the phone, hey, just so you guys know, on the 800 dock, the machine's acting up. A lot of times we don't get the communication
Sure.
that people should give. So,
well, you're hogging all the ice.
I got an ice machine, but I don't hog anything.
Nothing else.
No problem. Not a problem. All right, Mr. Manor, Master Planning Special Projects, Park Liaison.
I have nothing from the park liaison. I just received this from Tim, I guess. This is something we've been waiting for from Colin, and I haven't had a chance to look it over. I'll look it over and I'll make a presentation next meeting.
That's concerning dredging.
That's all I have.
All right, perfect. All right, Mr. Cypress, Advertising Public Relations.
No, I don't have anything today.
All right, not a problem. Mr. Zachman, Attorney's Report.
Board members, I emailed earlier today, and I apologize I didn't do it further as last week, but a memo that I drafted concerning the yacht club lease rent adjustment. As we were investigating the issue of who's responsible for the pavilion roof, we noticed that the yacht club has in their lease, which was assigned over to the Holdings Group LLC, a rent adjustment period in it. And so the rent adjusts upwards every 5 years. Part of the assignment and assumption agreement with the holdings company modified slightly the rent that Holdings Group was going to pay. And so, using the terms from the assignment and assumption agreement, the original lease should have readjusted on, I believe, January 1st of 2019. That would have been the beginning of the second rent adjustment period. But in the assignment and assumption agreement, we gave them a reduced rent, but that reduced rent ended as of January 1st, I believe, of 2020. Yeah, so I handed out a copy of the assignment and assumption agreement in a prior meeting, but the rent goes back to the amount it should have been, which was $1,174.25. But thereafter, beginning on January 1st, 2020, the rent reduction period shall terminate, and tenant shall pay, and landlord shall accept annual rent in the amount established pursuant to the adjustment period formula set forth in section 4.1C of the original lease. Section 4.1, actually it's 4.2C, but that's a typo. The rent adjustment calculation that's set forth in the original lease at 4.2C relies on the consumer price index. So it's a comparison of the consumer price index. Let me see if I got this right. I believe it is you look at the last month of the first adjustment period and the first month of the first adjustment period. And I think you subtract the two, then you come up with a percentage, you multiply that percentage to come up with, as in this case, as reflected in page 2, the calculation, an increase of 7.18%. So from the first rent adjustment period to the second rent adjustment period, there was a 7.1% increase in the CPI. So what we do is we look at what the year 10 rent was, because the first adjustment period was year 6 to year 10, and then the second adjustment period, modified by the assignment and assumption agreement, began on January 1st of 2020. So taking the CPI for the relevant time periods and multiplying the rent that they were paying prior to the second adjustment period, so that's $1,174.25 times 7.18% is an increase of $84.31 in the monthly rent. So the new monthly rent is $1,258.56 per month. So on page 3, just a little bit below the halfway point, I calculated out what the arrearage is. So that the last column, the column on the far right, is the annual arrearage. So it's effectively $84.31 times 12 months gives us an annual arrearage of $1,011.72 for 4 years, and then through November is the column for the 16th year lease. That's $927.41. By December, it's going to be $1,011.72 unless they go to the higher amount, which is the $1,258.56. So currently, they are in arrears $4,974.29. There's also a interest penalty of 1.5% per month. That's 18% per year. We could apply the 18% interest. If we did, it would yield another $895.37. If we tack that on to the $4,974.29, I don't think I did the calculation, but that's something the board has to consider, along with whether the board wants to afford the holdings group additional time to pay it. I mean, it's due and payable immediately with the interest. The board, however, might want to extend an olive branch, so to speak, and say, look, we'll give you X number of days to pay it off. That's up to the board. The board could charge the full interest, or the board could waive the interest, or the board could reduce the interest. But whatever the board decides, what I think I would propose is that the board instruct me to send a certified letter advising the tenant that there has been a rent increase and it shall be repaid based on whatever the board decides, whether it's due immediately, whether it's due in 30 days or 60 days or whatever the board decides. And then whatever the board decides regarding the interest, I'll pass that along in the letter that I'll send over, and probably send it certified just to make sure they can't say they didn't get it. And then at the first of the year, when the CPI comes out for December 31st of 2024, I'll be able to calculate what the new rent will be for the, I guess it would be the third adjustment period, which begins January 1st, 2025. And I would alert them in the letter that we send over that there will be a new calculation, and I'm not gonna waste the time estimating what it is, because, you know, they can do the calculation themselves if they want to and come up with an estimate, but we'll have a firm number after the first of the year.
I have a question. I guess my question would probably be for Mary Ann. Do you think that that they're, how do I word this? Do you think that they are aware that they are in arrears on their payments?
No,
You don't think they know that, huh?
because they're charged, their bills made out every month for the $1,174.25, and like, since this company has taken it over, they've been paying it better than
Okay.
other ones.
It's hard to say. I mean, they've got a copy of the lease, and, you know, they may have been on notice, they're certainly on notice, because they have a copy of the lease. They may have said, you know what, they haven't increased the rent over at the Port Authority, let's not say anything. Who knows?
Or they've just been negligent and not read the lease.
Well, maybe, that could be too.
It takes two entities to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I take responsibility for not having read the lease. I mean, the last time I looked at this was just recently because of the pavilion issue, but, I mean, we did this back in 2017. I probably should have calendared something to give me a tickler to say, hey, look, this rent is supposed to be increasing. I failed to do so, I take responsibility for that, but we caught it, and it doesn't matter that we haven't enforced it, we can now enforce it.
Only thing I have is that it's kind of hard to go back after extra interest when you're negligent, given the notification of being behind. That's my only take on it. The other money I have no problem with.
Perhaps you and Joe could take this to some sort of a committee meeting and hash out what you guys think is the best approach on this, because I think this kind of complicates the idea of ownership, doesn't it? And it just throws another piece of the ownership of the pavilion, and who's going to do who's going to pay for the roof. Does that have anything to do with this?
No, this is the rent that they have been paying since
Right.
2017.
But the overall question was why you looked into was who owns the roof?
Well, who's
Does
responsible
this-
for the maintenance?
Yeah, we cleared that all up. They're responsible
Yeah.
for the roof. They're
Okay,
responsible
that's
for all.
cleared up.
Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was just something that
That's
came as a
the key
result
part of this.
of that analysis.
I apologize, I didn't realize that the ownership issue was totally taken care of. All right, resolved, I should say. Okay.
It's just a matter of, okay, do we as a board want to send them the bill for the $49.74.29? And do we want to tack on the interest where we're negligent of actually giving an outdated bill? That's the only hard part I have with it. Now, do we give them a time period of 90 days or whatever to pay this bill? And if they don't, then we add the interest to it.
Well, we don't send them a bill every month, do we? They just automatically pay it,
No,
don't they?
there's a,
By right though, they should have an updated notice of what the rent's going to by us. When you look into everything, you know, so if, I know as a renter, it's a regular rental, you have to give notice, 60-day notice if you change the rent. So, being the lease this is set up, we don't have to give that, but.
Right. I mean, they have notice by virtue of having a copy of the lease.
Right. We didn't carry the ball and say, hey,
Right.
here it is.
Your rent's going up.
I have another question.
Sure.
When does this lease expire?
Oh, I think it's 2032, December 31st of 2032.
2032.
Yeah, this was designed for, most of us weren't here when this lease got put together.
This was back in 2013, I believe.
It says 2013.
Yeah.
So it was a 20.
No, 2008. Start of this lease, this is, the original lease, page 2, very top, section 2.0. This lease shall be a period of 25 years commencing on January 1st, 2008, commencement date, ending at midnight on December 31st, 2032.
Yeah, the 2013 was the adjustment.
That was,
period.
yeah, first adjustment.
Yeah, first adjustment period, yeah.
Got it.
Well, definitely we should, set what the new building, monthly building is. But I could go either way on what to do on any of the money in arrears, the $5,000. So I could go either way. You know, we obviously are somewhat lax in remembering all of this, that it was changing. And obviously they were lax in doing their part also. I don't know. I'm just not real comfortable saying, oh yeah, we ought to grab it and get this $5,000.
Yeah. Being on the committee, and we kicked this around, we did meet quite a few times, or 3 times maybe, Mr. Socrates and Mr. Frame, myself, attorney. And we did kick all these figures around. And I felt that we came up that we would waive the interest up until this point. And also, we kicked around the number of days until they had to pay, but we'd give them the option either, I have written down for my last notes was 45 days. 45 days to pay.
To pay what? Which part?
The 49.
The 49.74.
Yeah, 974.
Either one lump sum, or they could wait or move it over the 45-day period. Is that, you kind of got to it too? Mr. Frame, wasn't that pretty much what we got out of it? So, if nobody has any other questions, I'd like to make the motion then, that we waive the interest rate, and that we allow them 45 days to pay,
4974.29.
yeah,
Correct.
either pay up front right away, or they have up to 45 days to make the,
Certified letter Joe was talking about,
we've already talked about that, that's already drafted up, yeah.
that's
Yes.
included in your motion?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's my motion.
I'll second that.
Any other questions?
I do have more, but they're insurance related to that structure.
Yeah, that's a whole other, that's a whole other bailiwick.
Okay.
So, but I'll answer those insurance questions once we get past this. So, and those looking for any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so, now the insurance of the whole property, we have our own insurance as far as property, but as far as liability of that structure is all under their umbrella.
And it's on their schedule?
Yes.
Okay.
That's their scheduled property that they have to take care of. Now, if for some reason ownership changes of this facility, we do not have to go back into the same set lease, being that it's, well, over egregious time-wise, you felt that, that the timeline was way overstated for that original lease. So, but that's neither here or there at this point, but I'm just saying, for some reason ownership does change, doesn't mean we have to say, here's your lease again.
We can have a new lease.
Because that building has a bailiwick of issues.
So if it comes down to the point where the Port Authority would like to have a function there, we have to get their permission to do it.
At this
right?
point,
At this
Correct.
point. Yeah. Okay.
correct.
What about the restaurant?
Well, Parks Part owns part of it and we own part of it. There's two different.
No, but what about the restaurant using that?
The rest, well, that was the funny part. The restaurant has to get permission from the Yacht Club.
Yeah,
From the holding
lease
company.
that they.
that's what I thought, yeah.
They wrote a lease,
Okay,
sub-lease,
okay.
so they were owners of it. I'm like,
Yeah, I got
I
you.
don't want to get involved in that part of it. Anything else? Any other questions on that? All right. Anybody else have anything else? Any new business you want to bring up? Any old business?
Well, is that your total report?
Yes, that was.
Okay.
Anybody? Anybody?
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Hey! Motion to adjourn.
5:31.